All right, welcome everybody. You are in the right place. We are here to talk about how to get 50 new referral oil wells in the next 50 weeks. And I will explain to you what a referral oil well is in just a minute. Before we start, you need 5 pieces of paper and a pen to take notes on. I am literally going to draw out our process for you. And the full disclosure I will give you right now is I am a terrible visual artist. So if you take screenshots of my chicken scratch, you won't be able to read it later. So you are going to want to draw along with me in your own handwriting and your own graphics so that you can actually read and refer back to your notes later. So this is, as David at Morgan James mentioned in the emails you got, this is the proven system that gets others to grow your business for you. And this literal exact system is why you're here today, not just to learn it, you're here because of it. This webinar is a product of the product. So I will literally walk you through how you ended up here and how this whole process works. And you can do the exact same thing in your business. So we're going to talk about the 5 principles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need 5 pieces of paper. 5 principles to creating your own referral oil wells. And imagine if you could wave a magic wand, this will be my magic wand, and you had 50 referral oil wells. So it's an oil well, but it doesn't pump out oil in Texas desert. It pumps out referrals every single week for a year. And if you had 50 of them, that's a whole heck of a lot of referrals. I'm not sure how to calculate exactly how many referrals that's going to be and how much money that's going to translate into your business. Now, I've done this over 83 times for our clients here at our company. And David did ask me to share with you at the end how you could take advantage of that and get this all done for you, which we will get to later on. So quick word from David, and then we will dive in.
Wonderful gentleman before. In fact, you may have even attended one of his.
Let me start that over.
Wonderful.
Why is David not at the beginning?
Wonderful gentleman before. In fact, you may have even attended one of his trainings here recently. Fellow Morgan James author and dear friend, Seth Green. I have known Seth probably since the early to mid 2000s. First met him in person when we were at Orlando at a guerrilla marketing event with our mutual friend and mentor, Jay Conrad Levinson. So as you may know, Seth Green is the nation's foremost authority on how to grow your practice by creating 50 referral oil wells that promote your practice every week for a year without you even having to ask. Awesome. Seth is a co-host of Sharkpreneur podcast with Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington, which was named the #6 podcast to listen to by NASDAQ. Seth is also a 9-time best-selling author who has been interviewed on places like NBC News, CBS News, Forbes, Inc., CBS Money Watch, and many more. So lean in, grab your pen and paper, and let's have Seth share with us the same strategy that I've used to get others to grow my business for me and how our folks like you can do it too. Seth, take it away, brother.
Thank you so much, David. We will dive right in and get started. I am going to give you an ethical bribe right off the bat. If you will stay till the end, I will share with you how you can get a free vacation. That's right, a free vacation. Let me show you what it looks like, and I'll tell you how you qualify to win it. It will be 3 nights, 4 days in either Orlando or Las Vegas. So you have to get yourself there, but I will pay for your hotel stay. It is 3 nights, 4 days in a 5-star resort. This is what the balcony in Orlando looks like. This is what one of the 7 pools in Orlando looks like. That's my kids in the pool. Don't worry, they're not going with you. So the way we're going to give away the free vacation is to the person who participates the most. So what that means is if you comment in the chat box, if you answer in the chat box when I ask a question, if you have questions, the person who will track it, the person who participates the most wins 3 nights and 4 days in Orlando or Las Vegas. So let's start the contest right now. Where would you rather go? Put in the chat box Orlando or Vegas. All right, Amber's first one says Las Vegas. Ron says Vegas. We got Orlando, Sarah, Nancy, Kim, Paola, if I pronounce your name right. Orlando, John Young, Orlando, or lots of, we're heavily weighted for Orlando. All right, so far everybody almost everyone wants to win a trip to Orlando. Awesome. All right, as David mentioned, I've been interviewed in Forbes, Inc., CBS, NBC, the top 2 trade journals in the financial services industry where I started, Registered Rep and Insurance Newsnet. And I will, if you remind me at the end, I will teach you one of our secret strategies to get the press to write about your business or your book. And it's how I got interviewed on NBC, CBS, Forbes, and Inc. I will teach you that strategy if you remind me at the end. So as David mentioned, again, 9 best-selling books, including one from Morgan James, Market Domination for Podcasting. I've been on the cover of Success Magazine, and I share with that not to impress you, but to impress upon you that I didn't know any of this when I started. It wasn't always like this. I had to go through a whole lot of struggle for this to work, to come up with the process. I started out real quick at Syracuse University a couple decades ago. I went to Syracuse University for musical theater because you may not know this, but SU has one of the best top 3 musical theater programs in the country. And at the age of 18, my life goal was I wanted to be a Broadway star. Now, you see that my stage has changed kind of just a little bit. So we'll talk about why that happened. You see, my first semester, Thanksgiving break, I was packing my bags to go home for the first time. I'd been there since, August. I was excited to go home for the first time, see my parents. And my dad called, and I was literally packing the bag to go home and from Syracuse, which is a couple-hour drive from Buffalo, where I live. And my dad called and he said, I know you're going to be here in a couple hours, but I just wanted to tell you, you can't go to Syracuse anymore. I said, I'm sorry, what? And he said, we can't afford it. He said, I'm really sorry, but you have to move back home. You have to transfer to a school here in Buffalo. You have to get a part-time job and work, and you have to do chores around the house to help your mother out. And there's no loud music after 9 p.m. and you can't have any girls over, but we'll see you in a couple hours for Thanksgiving dinner. Click. And he hung up on me. Can you imagine? I mean, I called my mother in tears. It's like, Mom, I don't understand. I just got here a couple months ago. I absolutely love it here. Like, why are you doing this? And she said, your dad just got the tuition bill. He's freaking out. We'll figure it out. We'll see you for dinner. We'll figure it out. So Tanya says, oh my God, no way. Yes. Amber gives me a frowny face. Lisa Ann says that must have been hard. Yeah, that was a really bad day. And I got home and no one said anything. This was this 800-pound gorilla, right? Elephant in the room. And I was home for a week for Thanksgiving break. And then I got in the car, I headed back. Nobody said anything. I didn't know if I was going to pack a U-Haul and bring my stuff home, but nobody said anything. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm staying. I was on pins and needles until the end of my second semester when I was coming home for the summer. And my dad made the same phone call and called me again and said, I'm so sorry. You can't go back next year. I called my mother, not crying as much, still crying, going, Mom, I thought you fixed this. Your dad got another tuition bill. He's freaking out. This kept happening every single semester. And I realized it was going to keep happening. So I decided there had to be a better way. And in addition to studying musical theater, I decided to become a college financial planner because I thought it'd be a better career path. If I wanted to start a family and have kids, it'd be a better career path, more stable career path to be a college financial aid advisor, which wasn't even a job title 20 plus years ago. It is now. It wasn't then. I literally, had to make up the program. It was a cross function between the finance department, the business department, and the marketing department. At Syracuse, I literally made up my own second other degree besides musical theater. So I graduated and I went to work for a Fortune 500 company, financial services company called AG Edwards. The name doesn't exist anymore because they got bought out twice when the subprime bubble burst in 07 and 08. And after I passed my Series 7 and all my licensing exams and all my insurance license, I went to training in St. Louis. I came back and my branch manager said, this is the secret formula for success in this business. Now, this is not from the Da Vinci Code. This was, again, there was no internet back then. There was no email. There was no Facebook. There was no social media. There was not too many websites back in the late 90s. And so this was the formula. If you made 300 cold calls a day, there was no do not call list, interrupting strangers, you would talk to 60 people. 45 would hang up on you. 15 would allow you to send them information in the mail, snail mail. 10 would blow you off. 5 would book appointments with you. 3 would actually show up, and you're a rookie, so you'll close 1. So if you make 300 dials a day, it should average out to 1 new client a day. You do that long enough, you can build a career on it. The saying in our branch office was 300 dials a day keeps the branch manager away. I absolutely hated it. There were days that phone felt like it weighed 900 pounds. How many of you, have any of you ever had to cold prospect for business? Give me a, I've been there, or I feel your pain in your chat box, in the chat box. Sounds like a nightmare, says Lisa. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Amber, I've been there, hate it. Tanya, yes, I hate it. Sarah, I feel your pain. Paul, been there. Dawn, crazy face with glasses, I feel your pain. Awesome. So I hated it. Something had to change. Well, in my spare time, I am a professional magician. And as fate would have it, the first couple months of my career, in my subscription to Magic Magazine, there was a full page ad in this magazine for a marketing course for magicians. And it said, the headline was, you could make a 6-figure executive level income working part-time as a magician. Now, remember, I was cold calling for business. I didn't have the money for the course. I was broke. I was literally living on Carnation Instant Breakfast and whatever free food the financial service wholesalers brought into the office. So I went to my parents. I said, Mom, Dad, I need to get this course. I don't have the money. Can you give me the money for this course? It will be my birthday present this year, my Hanukkah present this year, and my birthday and Hanukkah present next year and the year after. Because my monthly present, their budget wasn't that big for presents. And they said, my dad was like, you mean I don't have to get you any presents for the next 3 years if I buy you this course thing? I said, yes. And he said, okay. So I got the course, I implemented the course, and in 90 days, I became the busiest, most expensive magician in Western New York where I live. And here is my first lead generation campaign. This was a fake $100 bill business card that folded over in half that I stapled to my sales letter that drove people to I was sending this to schools because I wanted to do magic shows in schools, teaching kids. I had I love to read magic show. It was for libraries and literacy programs. And this was my lead generation magnet. Well, it worked so well. Again, I became the busiest, most expensive magician in Western New York. And I faxed in my critique certificate. Thank you, Lisa, for the love the creativity comment. I faxed in my critique certificate. I had to go to Kinko's to use a fax machine. And I got my chance to talk for 30 minutes with Dave D, the man who invented the course, who is a legendary marketer now. Literally was chief marketing officer for Dan Kennedy's company for years and years and years. So I did my call with Dave D. And I said, Dave, this is amazing. Would this work in my real job as a financial planner for college? And he said, it would absolutely work. I said, where did you learn this stuff? I wanted to go to the source. And he said the 2 words that changed my life. He said, Dan Kennedy. So I immediately started getting Dan Kennedy books, tapes, courses, whatever I could get my hands on at the library or whatever I could borrow. Well, fast forward a little bit. And in the span of 12 months, that is my wonderful wife, Rebecca. She and I got married. We bought our first house. She quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom to our first baby, Max, who is now 15 years old and is going to drive next year, which is really scary. So I was the sole breadwinner, supporting my wife and new baby, making 300 cold calls a day. Well, I had the tenacity to get to talk to Dan over the phone directly on a conference call. And I told him what I was doing. And he said, you're doing everything your industry teaches you, which is completely wrong. You shouldn't be cold calling. You shouldn't be interrupting strangers, asking them for money. And I said, so what do I do? And it was a much longer pitch, but the gist was, write me a really big check and I'll change your life. Well, I went home to my lovely wife, Rebecca, and I said, honey, I know we just bought this house, but I need to go borrow more than that mortgage we just took out to go hire this guy, Dan. And she said, no, right? She said, you're crazy. I just quit my job. You're trying to support us and you're making cold calls every day. That's not a good idea. Well, I came back the next day and asked again. 30 days in a row, I'm pretty persistent when there's something I want really badly. I asked her every single day, and her answers got more and more vehement, more and more passionate. There was some profanity eventually thrown in until day 31. She said, you better pray this beep works and let me go borrow the money to work with Dan. Well, thank God she did. It was the second best decision she will tell you she's ever made. Number 1 was marrying me. Number 2 was letting me borrow the money because it totally changed my business, and it's why you're here today. So let's talk about the concept of referral oil wells. And remember, if you came on a little bit late, you need 5 pieces of paper and a pen or a pencil to draw the process out with me, because you won't be able to read my handwriting. All right, so what is a referral oil well? This is our middle child. This is our 13-year-old daughter, Ella. Ella has followed in my musical theater footsteps and is an actress. Well, this is her starring as Chip in Beauty and the Beast. And it's so funny that that picture is the marketing that the theater company she's in uses, which is awesome that they picked her. But here's the interesting thing about Ella's theater program that got me thinking. Most kids don't want to sign up for a full year of an intensive theater program if they're not already in theater. So how do you get a kid to try theater? Well, it's interesting because at the end, oh my God, your daughter is Ella and she's an actress. Tanya, that's awesome. So at the end of every season, at the last show of the season, the high school graduating seniors, at the end of the show's over, they get to come out and give a little speech like thanking everybody. And they all talk about how many friends they've made and have brought to the theater program, which is brilliant. And I thought about it. How do you get a kid to try theater who's never done it? Well, the theater company came up with a brilliant solution. It's a summer camp. It's like a 1-week summer camp, and they have dozens of them depending on the show you want to do or the age group you're in. So my daughter Ella, every summer invites some of her friends who aren't theater people to come try a camp for a week, and they get to do a show and they get to have fun. And then some of them say, that was nice. Oh, I'm never doing that again. I'm not a theater person. But every year, some of the kids she invites stay and sign up for the year-long program and then stay forever until they graduate high school. So Ella, these are some of the people that she's brought. Like Ella is literally, they turn each kid into an oil well of referrals every year by asking the kids to invite their friends to summer camp. So how do you apply that to your business? That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's talk first on who this is for. Type in the chat box, what business are you in? Are you an author? Are you a coach? Are you a financial advisor, accountant, lawyer, doctor? Are you a surgeon or a dentist? Are you a business broker? Are you a marketing agency? Are you a mortgage broker? All right, so I see author, speaker, author, speaker, author, speaker. Notice we've got author, speaker, coach, consultant, trainer on the list because it literally works exactly. Greg is a dentist, coach, and a speaker. Don is a marketing consultant. Sarah is a travel author. Awesome. Perfect. You are all in the right place. Okay. So referral oil wells. This concept has gotten me nominated by Dan Kennedy for his prestigious Market of the Year award 3 years in a row. I'm the only person who's ever been nominated 3 years in a row. And it's made me, it took me from A.G. Edwards to starting my own financial services company, howtofindmoneyforcollege.com, that is now the #1 college financial aid planning company in the country, where we cut the cost of tuition $19,077 a year. And we have built a referral list of 22,078 high school guidance counselors who send us their kids every single week using this process. So let's talk about how I did it and how you can do the same thing. We talked about what business you are in. If you have a high transaction value, this will work for you. So if you own a pizza place down the street, right? I'm in Buffalo, pizza and wings, and you sell $2 slices of pizza, this will not work for you. The ROI will not be there. A high transaction value. So, I mean, that could be $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. Type in the chat box what your average sale is. I know that it's going to vary all over the map, but what does a person pay you the first time they hire you? Give me a number in the chat box. We're going to need that number for later anyway. Dave says you have a strong extroverted personality. How does this work for less extroverted people? Dave, I'm so glad you asked that. This works better for introverted people. And I'll show you why in just a minute, because you literally don't have to do the work. Somebody else does all the work. Okay, so I see 5 to 25,000 depends, 1,500, 1,500, 5,000, 30,000, 2,500. Awesome. So you're all in the right place. It takes 30 minutes a week if you let us do the work for you. If you do the work yourself, it's going to take a little bit longer than that. And you have to be coachable. I am going to literally map out our exact process in just a minute. You have to follow directions. So I'm going to assume that you can follow directions. I am sharing this with you because I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. Nobody should have to cold call for business. It's a terrible positioning. It's a lousy way to make a living. It is. I tried every trick in the book. I used a stack of Monopoly money because I was broke. And every time I made another call, I would move a $20 Monopoly bill to the other side of the column going, look, I made that because I'm going to get to cash that $20 bill eventually. Like, yeah, Tanya says it sucks. Okay, so what's a referral oil well? There are two types of oil wells. Number one, this is real oil wells. There's a wildcat well, which is a first-time shot based on geological interpretation of the area's subsurface formations. So if they drill an oil well in some place where they've never drilled before, as a guess that they think there will be oil there, they have a 10% chance of success. Then there is a production well, a production development well. You are drilling in a known oil field. This is why you see rows and rows of oil wells together, because they're putting one right next to another. In that case, if you are putting one oil well right next to another, it's almost certain, it's literally almost 100% chance you will hit oil again if you follow the strain of oil. So would you rather have a wildcat well or a production well? Toss it in the chat box. Wildcat, 10% chance, production almost 100. It should be a no-brainer, right? Everybody says production. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of my referral oil wells. One of my referral oil wells, his name is Max Newman. Max Newman connected me to Bob Lehman, who hired us. Bob Lehman connected me to Michelangelo Mortallaro, who hired us. He referred me to his law partner, Jason, and the next month, that connection should get me 10 to 15 more clients. Max also brought me Matt Chansey, who hired us and then sent me his business partner, Blair. Max then referred me to Andy Greider, who sent me 3 more clients, Ryan Long, Jorge, and Arturo. Then Max Newman referred me to Duff Lindsay, who hired us, and Rob Turley, who's in the process of hiring us. That is a total from one person, one referral oil well done correctly, of $390,900 of revenue. And I talk to Max every single week, and almost every single week he has another referral. That number is actually outdated. It's higher than that. So let's talk about, yes, Lisa says I need to find my Max Newman. Let's do it right now. So the only way for you to truly scale your business is to get others to grow it for you. You know, David from Morgan James said that at the very beginning. The only way to get them to grow your business for you is by turning them into a referral oil well. So how do you dig referral oil wells? Get out that piece of paper. You are now going to draw with me. Everybody ready? You are going to get a piece of paper and you are going to draw. Don't worry, I'm a lousy artist, so if I can do it, you can do it. You're going to draw one box with an arrow with 3 arrows to 3 other boxes. Okay, you should have one box with 3 arrows pointing to 3 other boxes. The first box, you are going to write the word define. D-E-F-I-N-E, define. Now, what do you need to define? Well, the first thing you need to define is your target market. That's what that's supposed to say, target market. Most authors, speakers, coaches, consultants get this wrong, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Not only do I need to define who my ideal client is, I need to define who influences them. Because I don't want to just get one client. I want to get a leverage source, a center of influence who can get me 1, 5, 10, 20, 50 clients. David Hancock from Morgan James is one of our oil wells. There are 70 some of you here because of him. And then once I define who my micro influencers are, I have to define where they hang out. So D stands for define. There are going to be 5 principles and 5 letters, and they're going to spell out a word. D stands for define. I first define my target market, then I define who influences them, then I define where they hang out. So an example of a poorly defined target market. If you ask most financial advisors who their target market is, they will tell you baby boomers with money. That isn't a well-defined target market. Why not? Give me an answer. Why isn't that well-defined? It's too generic, says Amber. You are absolutely right. Too broad, not specific enough, Lisa Anna. You are absolutely right. And they don't have the budget to reach every single baby boomer with money, right? It's too big. So we have a financial advisor who we use as a case study, who their target market was affluent suburban women, age 45 to 55, who had gotten divorced in the last 6 months, were starting to date again, was terrified of competing against younger women, want to do something to improve their appearance, but were afraid of plastic surgery. That is the target market for our Divorce Smile Makeover dentist, who owns that market in his city, has a waiting list 3 months long, makes 4 times as much money, works half as much. Doesn't do root canals or anything else. He just does Divorce Smile Makeovers, $25,000 in cash, no insurance. All right, so that's a properly defined target market. So next sheet of paper, same boxes. D stood for define. R stands for reach out. But before we get into R, let me share with you an example of how, if you define it right, this works. This is our client, Itamar Shafir. His end user clients are marketing agency owners. His dream influencer is an A+ list marketing celebrity, like Neil Patel, whose net worth is $30 million, or John Lee Dumas from Fire Nation, who's grossed over $21 million with his podcast, EO Fire. This is his marketing umbrella podcast. You'll see he's interviewed Neil Patel. He's interviewed John Lee Dumas, those celebrities who can dramatically move the needle for him. He's interviewed legendary marketers like Matt Bachek and Yannick Silver, both of whom actually are clients of ours as well. Let's let Itamar tell you his experience, and then we'll move on to the letter R.
Hey guys, this is Itamar from UmbrellaUS.com, and I wanted to do this little video and tell you about a phenomenon known as Seth Green and what he's been doing for me. I've been part of his podcast program, and it's been working amazingly well. I've started making a podcast because I wanted to help my listeners and also meet very smart people and people with other lists that I can collaborate with and expand my business. And it's exactly what happened. We have been interviewing A-list guests, and we have started working with them. So I've been winning all around with this program, and the amount of potential income that we're generating from this is far, far greater than the cost of the program. Seth has been amazing. My program manager, Sean, is also extremely attentive to everything that I need. They find good guests. They take care of everything, and I'm just having fun. I'm having a ball, and I'm enjoying it, and it's working well. So thank you, Seth, and thank you, Sean. Thank you, team, for all that you've been doing. And if you're considering working with Seth and doing a podcast with him, you should definitely do it. It's just an awesome, awesome solution to expand your list, your connections, talk with smart people, and also, of course, help your listeners with whatever you're expert in. So thank you very much, Seth and the team, and keep doing what you're doing.
All right, so let's move on to the next. You know what? Let me share with you one more because some of you are. This is Cindy Watson. Her program is called Practice with Purpose. Her end user clients are conscious lawyers. Her dream influencers are folks who serve the lawyers themselves, and even law professors. She wants her method taught in law school. So she's interviewed Jennifer Justice, who was Jay-Z and Beyonce's lawyer. That's some influence, right? She's interviewed Robert Hanna, who is a recruiter for law firms. He's got an entire Rolodex of the lawyers she wants. So let's talk to Cindy, and then we'll get on to the next letter.
Hey there, I'm Cindy Watson, and I just wanted to take a minute to give a huge, heartfelt shout out to the team at Market Domination. I was contemplating a career shift, and I was lucky enough to get introduced and hooked up with Seth and his fabulous team at Market Domination. They understood the shift that I wanted to make and how to best position it. We're just about to launch my brand new podcast for lawyers only, Practicing with Purpose, and the process could not have been simpler. They take care of everything. They do the logo design, they get the music lined up, they take care of all that back channel stuff that needs to happen to register the podcast. But more importantly, they get the core messaging that matters to me and they translate it into high quality interviews. They line up the interviewees and not just anybody, interesting people with unique perspectives to make my podcast pop. They put together the questions, they do all of the editing, the show notes, they offer training on how to improve interview styles for maximum impact, they market, and they have a fabulous signature follow-up system that really builds relationships beyond the podcast interview. So it's a win-win-win that keeps on giving. My visibility and credibility grows as I also make and build connections that serve to grow my business in unexpected ways. I just need to show up and do the interview and everything else is taken care of. How simple and beautiful is that? Huge shout out and thank you to the team at Market Domination.
All right, let's go into, I see the big names and it seems out of reach. Not if you have a media department that can get you in with those people. All right, so remember the next letter is R for reach out. So what are we going to reach out with? Well, let me show you. You could cold call, right? You could do 300 dials a day. And all those that do not call us now. So maybe that's not a good idea. You could spam people on social media. I get emails, I get messages on LinkedIn, like 5 or 10 a day of people I don't know trying to sell me something. How many of you get LinkedIn spam, right? Give me a, I get it in the chat box. So many of them, too many of them. Lisa Ann says, sounds so much easier than what I'm doing now with better results. Dave says, I tell them no. Yes. This was what I got on Facebook. I don't know who this guy is, but he says, hey, can you like and subscribe to my podcast? I could use your help for a powerful launch. Can I send you the link? Like, I don't even know who you are. So which would you rather have, a cold call or a hot lead? Okay, so let's keep drawing. All right, so we got our reach out. What are we going to reach out with? Here we go. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to comment 3 times on their social media. So I'm not going to put 3 Facebook comments. I'm going to, let's say, comment on Monday on Lisa Ann's Facebook post. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to comment on her Twitter tweet. And then on Friday, I'm going to comment on her YouTube video. So I'm going to comment 3 times. Then I'm going to write Lisa a review on 2 of her platforms. I'm going to give her 5 stars on Google and then 5 stars a couple days later on LinkedIn. Now, you don't have to buy Lisa's product to write a review. The review could just be an endorsement on LinkedIn. The review could just be, hey, I love the content that she puts out. You don't have to actually give Lisa money, although you all could. So once the point of commenting 3 times a week and writing 2 reviews is I want to start showing up in Lisa's news feed. I want her to start recognizing my name because the next thing I'm going to do, for example, for Dave Jennings, I'm going to send Dave a direct message. It's either going to be an email if I can find his email, or I'm going to send him a message on social media. Now, what if you thought, hey, that might work for marketing, but I don't know. My prospects are super high end. They're different, right? So this is Cliff Locks from Investment Capital Growth. He is going after private equity funds. So these are folks, his show is called the Private Equity Podcast, which I actually co-host. He's going after mergers and acquisitions firms, private equity firms, investment banks. These are super high-end folks dealing with a lot of money. So let's see what Cliff says, and then we'll keep on drawing.
Hi, this is Cliff Locks from Investment Capital Growth and the co-host of the Private Equity Profits Podcast. It's been a pleasure hiring and working with the team at Market Domination to create strategic marketing programs that build on my brand, deliver visibility, and the most important asset, trust, with the private equity firms and clients who are very high and ultra high net worth individuals and their family offices. The team at Market Domination does all the work. They provided a well thought out plan to create a global podcast where I interview the thought leaders who manage large portfolios in the range of 30 million to 3 billion in assets for very high and ultra high net worth individuals and their family offices. I personally have completed 22 podcast interviews to date and counting. I'm looking forward to starting a second podcast to help executives become multi-millionaires using their skills and passion for scaling their own successful businesses. So yes, The marketing programs work well and are very scalable on a local, national, and international level. If you're looking to take your sales and marketing to a new higher level, build further trust, visibility, and you're passionate about delivering a high quality message, work with Seth Green and his team at Market Domination. You'll be glad you did.
All right, so let's keep going. So this is just focused on podcasts. No, Dave, it is not. So you're going to learn the podcast is the front end, first initial contact lead generation tool. It's everything that happens after the podcast. I'm going to show you our follow-up system that's offline that turns that podcast guest into a referral oil well from you. So stick with me. Tanya says she loves it. Awesome, Tanya. All right. So you need to draw the boxes again. Remember, the first set of boxes was D for define. R was for reach out. E is for engage. Remember, I commented 3 times, I reviewed twice, and I'm sending a direct message so to get engagement. So what am I going to message Dave? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to invite Dave to be on my audio video podcast. That's the first point of contact. So David, I'm going to interview Dave on Zoom. I'm going to get separate audio and video tracks. The audio podcast, after it's edited, the audio goes to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, and Audible, everywhere podcasts are listened to. And the video becomes your web TV show on YouTube. So, Dave, after I interview you on my podcast, I am going to get you social media content all about the fact that you were on my show. Dave, once you're on the show and you get interviewed and I talk about how fabulous, ask you about how fabulous you are for half an hour, and then send you a link to the show, are you just going to delete my email? Is Dave going to share that with people? Anybody can answer. Will Dave forget about it or will he share it? Amber says he'll share it. All platforms. Dave will share. Dave will share. Dave, you better share. Everyone says you're going to share. So why is Dave going to share that he was on my show? Answer in the chat box. Why is Dave going to share? It broadens his audience. It's ego. It's exposure. Yes, you're all right. It's Dave gets to say, look at me. I was interviewed on the Sharkpreneur Show. Dave is promoting himself, but he's taking me along for the ride. Because if Dave has an email list of 10,000 people and emails them all, go listen to me on the Sharkpreneur Show, some of those 10,000 people are going to come to me and become subscribers to the show. And some of them are going to end up doing business with me. Dave says vanity, vanity, all his vanity. Yes, that is also true. Beth says it looks good. It gets his name out. Glenn says it looks good for him and spreads his word. Absolutely. Now that's not enough. I'm going to have Dave promote. Dave is going to share the audio show. Dave is going to share the video show. Dave is going to post social media content. And I'm going to take, in a year, I'm going to take my best 10 to 12 interviews and I'm going to turn them into another book. It's going to be an interview book, kind of like Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. I've been doing this a lot longer than Tim Ferriss has been doing interview books. So if Dave is now in my book, is Dave going to promote the book when it comes out? Of course it is, because he's promoting himself. He's telling the world how fabulous he is, and he is taking me along for the ride. So David Hancock from Morgan James was on my podcast, shared it, was in my book, promoted it. Of course, it was a Morgan James book, so that helped. And is now having all of you attend to learn the process that got you all here. Can I restate all of the 3? Yes, before we move on. D is for define. We're defining our target market, who influences them, and then where they hang out. We're reaching out to our influencers by commenting 3 times a week, writing only 2. You're going to keep commenting every week. If you're doing it yourself, you're going to comment 3 times a week every week. So you're always on their news feed. You're not going to review 2 times every week because you run out of places to review. And then you send a direct message to engage them. Engage is AV podcast, then social media, then book. You missed a box on the reach out page. Comment 3 times, review twice, direct message. You get it, Laura? All right. So yes, you got it. Awesome. So it's not enough, as Dave alluded to. So Dave, let's talk about it. You asked what happens if you're introverted. The podcast works better. You know why? It's not about you. The podcast is about your guest. The spotlight's on them. If you do it right, if you follow our process, the Guest will talk 85% of the time. You're going to ask some questions, wind them up, and let them go. And they're going to talk. So it works better for introverts because they don't try and talk too much. I have a challenge sometimes with extroverted clients because they talk over their guests and they try and make it about them. And I have to scold them and remind them, if you want to build a referral oil well, you got to make that person know, like, trust, and love you. Talking about yourself doesn't get anybody to love you. Listening gets people to love you. What is the timeline from start to client? We're getting there. You're getting ahead of me. Okay. So the podcast is the first point of contact where you have the initial relationship start with your prospective influencer or prospective client. It's the best form of networking I've ever seen. I was in BNI for like 7 years. Before COVID, I spoke at a conference. I was on a plane. My wife will tell you every single month to go speak somewhere and give a presentation like this. But this, you don't have to leave your house. You can do it from anywhere. I've done them on a beach. Wouldn't recommend it because of the ocean noise, but I've done it. Kevin Harrington is from Shark Tank. Occasionally his travel schedule gets changed and he has done them from his car. Don't recommend it, but you could. The fortune comes from the follow-up. A number of you have probably seen this statistic, right, from the National Sales Executive Association that says 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. And if we look at the bottom, 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Well, what if you didn't have to do any of those? What if we did the 12 to 24 to however many contacts it took to nurture them for you? So what do you need to do all that? Well, you need email, you need social media graphics, you need audio, you need video, you need transcripts, you need show notes, you need swipe copy, you need multi-step direct mail, you need a monthly magazine, bi-monthly magazine, you need to show them the money call, and you need sales. And we'll get into what all those mean in just a second. So before we get to the next letter, let me share with you what Martha Shedden says. She is from the National Association of Social Security Analysts. So they train accountants and financial advisors and certify them to become Social Security experts. This is her Social Security show where she says,
hi, I'm Martha Shedden, and I am president and co-founder of the National Association of Registered Social Security Analysts. And I'm making this video to tell you about Market Domination and BMD Publishing. Why did we hire you originally? What did we want you to do for us? And to tell you the truth, I was not even on that original phone call. My partner, Michael Rosedale, and our CEO, Todd Whitten, decided it was a good thing to do. So here we are. But I have to say, after all these months of interviews and what this has been like, that it is the most wonderful thing, because I am now able to reach out to anyone that I want to ask them if they'll be a guest on my podcast, and ask them any questions I want to. And I've found how much I really enjoy it and how I'm meeting all these new people. And hopefully that is spreading our brand and awareness of the National Association of Registered Social Security Analysts and the RSSA brand along with that. But I can't say enough about how wonderful this has been, and I'm looking forward to the next probably another 7 months or so of doing interviews and working with Sean and Seth and the team at BMD, and it's been a lot of fun. Thank you. Bye.
All right, so back to our drawings. I'm tired just thinking of the list of things to do. Dave, I'm going to show you how you don't have to do any of them. I'm already concerned that the cost for service will be prohibitive. That depends on your budget. That's entirely possible. However, I am going to show you how to calculate exactly how much money this will make you. So you'll know what your ROI is before we get to that point. Martha looks very happy. Yeah, they just renewed. They're actually doing a second year because it went so well. All right, so you have to draw your boxes again. We are on the 4th box. The top letter is A for activate. So D was define, R was reach out, E was engage, A is activate. So how do I activate that relationship? So, hey, Dave Hancock was on my show on social media, shared it on social media, shared it on email, and then promoted the book that he was in. So what do I do next? Because he took us along for the ride, but it wasn't a direct promotion. Dave was telling people to go listen to the Sharkpreneur show to listen to how fabulous he is. He wasn't saying how fabulous Seth is. So what do I have to do to take it to the next step? That depends on how you promote your services. So for example, we promote the majority of our services via a webinar, just like this one. But you might not do a webinar. You might want people to watch a video. You might want people to get your book or your ebook or your course. Well, one of my favorite marketing books of all time is Influence by Robert Cialdini. This is the second edition that just came out recently in the last year. And Robert Cialdini says the two most powerful forces in human psychology, you should probably write this down, are reciprocity and consistency. Consistency and reciprocity. We have a need to remain consistent with who we believe ourselves to be, and we can't stand when things are unbalanced. So I interviewed Dave on the show. I promoted him on social media. I promoted him to my email list. I got him to share the show, share the email, share the social media, and share the book. So he had shared about 3 or 4 things. So consistency, he's yes, 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 yes. He shared. So when I said, hey, Dave, can you share one more thing for me? He's got to remain consistent with who he believes himself to be. I share things. I shared for Seth. Of course, I'll share one more thing. And that thing was this webinar. So I've created consistency by building up those micro commitments with the show and everything that follows the show. So when I ask for the thing I really want, it's a no-brainer. Dave says, I'm always the weak link in this. I have been on multiple podcasts and yet my follow-up is poor to use these. Well, we'll do it all for you. So you don't have to worry about it anymore. So we're going to get there. All right. So let me share with you another case study from Chris Fleming. It's kind of a financial advisor before we get to the next letter. So Chris has a show called The Confident Retirement. You'll see we cross-pollinated. He interviewed Martha from the National Association of Registered Social Security Analysts to talk about Social Security with his clients who might be concerned about Social Security. He interviewed estate attorney Maria Barlow, whose clients are a perfect fit for Chris, who she told about him. So I'll let Chris talk.
Hey there, Chris Fleming here, co-founder of LPF Advisors in Sarasota, Florida. I'm also the host of the Confident Retirement podcast with shows airing weekly. We help everyday people with sufficient assets prepare for and transition into a confident state of financial independence so they can focus on what they value most. We originally hired Market Domination to create a podcast and a book in order to open many more channels of opportunity for networking and client acquisition, partnering with the professionals that we have on the show. And so far, Seth and his team have completely delivered on every phase of the project. By nature, I typically go into most things with very low expectations, but I have been absolutely impressed and pleasantly surprised. My kids even think that I'm famous now because I'm on YouTube. So Seth and his team have listened to my feedback. They're available for questions. They're prompt in their follow-up and keep to the schedule that we've agreed upon. I think a project like the one that I'm doing has a ramp-up time to results, and I feel like we are laying the groundwork now that is going to pay large dividends in the future because we're using a purposeful process. Now, I believe in it so much that I've agreed to partner with them for another year of podcasts and another book, utilizing the team at Market Domination. They truly have this down to a science. It's worth checking them out if you're stuck or stagnant in how you currently acquire new clients. Good luck and be well.
All right, back to our last letter. So part of your services, you advise and make connections on guests that align with our work. We actually do all the work for you. So we're going to get to that, but we will go get you the guests. We will figure out who the right guests for you are. We will go get them all. You will show up once a week on Zoom and read the questions we write for you. You don't even have to think. And that's all you have to do. And then, you have to take the money. You have to do a second call, which we'll coach you on, and I'll talk about in a little minute, where you turn the guest, after we've done all the follow-up and nurturing, you turn the guest into a referral oil well who will promote. What's the average time of laying groundwork? We're getting there. Tanya, you're getting ahead of me. Last series of boxes. D was define, R was reach out, E was engage, A was activate, DREAM, dream. M stands for money, monetize. So how are we going to monetize? What are the other two boxes on activate? Webinar, video, or in the last box is book or ebook or course. This is why I told you had to write it down, because if you try and read mine later, if you watch a replay, you won't be able to read it. Okay, so monetize. How are we going to monetize? We got to do three things to turn a podcast guest into money. We've got to capture. So we've got to capture contact information on their tribe. So for example, David Hancock sent you an email about this webinar. When you went and registered, you registered with your name, email, and possibly cell phone number. I don't remember. So we captured your contact information. Now we have to connect with you. Well, we've had our first call on this webinar. Don't be surprised. You will get follow-up emails from us, not just about this, but about, the workshops we have all the time, educating people on other different things, but we will connect with you. And then you have to convert, right? This isn't going to be right for some of you. Some of you, your business isn't big enough yet to afford this. You could do this to grow, but you got to be able to pay the bills. And we totally understand that. So how do you monetize? You have to capture contact information with a lead. You have to connect with them, hopefully in an automated way. I don't want to go send 72 manual one-off emails one at a time. I have a system that will automatically do that until you get either enroll or get a time on our calendar to talk to us, in which case then we do our conversion process to get you to become a paying client, just like you need to do with your clients. So DREAM. All my referrals have come from work I've done somewhere inside a company. They bring me to the next company. I've never started a business relationship from any marketing efforts or LinkedIn. It's hard to believe these will lead to business. Dave, I've been sharing with you case study after case study. I'm going to share with you some more. I don't know what to tell you other than it works every single day. I will tell you, in our own business, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 webinars the next month because of this process. And I had 42 appointments last week because of this process. It works if you work it. If you let us do the work, it will work. So here, I'll share with you a very interesting example. This is Zero Shoes. They were the only, if you watch Shark Tank, you may remember them. I'll show you Steve in a second. They're the only people who the Shark Tank judges said, you seem to have the perfect answer for every question. And Steve said, well, shouldn't I have the right answer to every question? It's my business. Shouldn't I know all my numbers? So Steve has a show called The Movement, because his Zero Shoes is all about natural movement. I'll let Steve tell you, and we'll keep going.
Hey, I'm Steven Sashin, co-founder and CEO of Zero Shoes. We make the lightest, most comfortable footwear you have ever worn. So lightweight, so comfortable. We've had customers say they went to bed still wearing their Zero Shoes because they forgot they had them on. Not because they passed out drunk, but even if that's true, who am I to judge? More importantly, I had a podcast that I started called The Movement, where I share information about natural movement, being healthy, starting feet first, because, those things are your foundation. It was going well, but it was also taking a lot of my time and a lot of effort. And so I hired the market domination team and could not be happier. They've taken all of the work off of my plate. They are finding guests for me. They are editing. They are posting. They are cross-posting. They are promoting. They are syndicating, doing all the work that I frankly didn't like doing, but was doing because I couldn't find anyone to do it who was frankly affordable and effective and efficient. Could not be happier. The downloads and listens have gone through the roof, got guests that I couldn't otherwise get. And I'm just looking forward to continuing to work with them. And I think you should too.
Steve just renewed for another year. This is one in the real estate space. They have a podcast called the Agency for Agents podcast. They are using this as real estate brokers to grow their agency and recruit more real estate agents.
Hey, I wanted to give a quick shout out for Seth and Market Domination. Let's see. My name's Aaron Hinden. I am with Christine & Company, an EXP Realty brokered team out of Seattle, Washington. And we originally hired Seth out of his little cult handbook. We wanted to build a podcast and really create raving fans. And, the promise was 50 podcasts, the book, that delivered on those insights from the podcasts, and Seth and the back end team would handle everything. And the truth is they have. We were slow in getting it started, but really everything that they promised, they delivered. There's constant feedback, constant updates, constant support. There's never been a time where they weren't reachable, where any mistake wasn't corrected right away. And it really is, Seth is as reliable as they come in delivering what they promise. So looking forward to their second year, looking forward to completing the project and seeing what's next. And love the work so far.
All right, I'll do one more with network marketing. And then let's see, I got some questions. What if you're doing part of this already? Will you start with where you are at? Yeah, absolutely. What about those of us who do not have to have a podcast? You don't have to, we're gonna build it for you. If you don't have a show, that's the point. We're going to build it from scratch as the best marketing tool you've got. If you already have a show like Stephen Sashen did, we will take over your existing show and work our magic on it. Hang on, we got another question. Do you work with international clients? I'm from Nigeria. Sure. We Cindy from Practicing with Purpose is from Canada. Okay, let's let Brian. He started a second show. His first show was Nutrigenomic Nation. He is a network marketer with a supplement company. And he did that show for a year to grow the supplement brand. And then that went so well, he started Good Life, Great Life podcast to start recruiting people into his downline. Are you posting on our social media? Yes, every single week. Absolutely. So I'll let Brian tell you his story.
Hi, I'm Brian Highfield, host of the Good Life, Great Life podcast. I've been working with Market Domination for over a year. In fact, we just renewed. It's really helped myself. I've become a best-selling author. I also have a multi-million-dollar business in healthcare and in sports, and I help other entrepreneurs get the most out of their business and maximize their life. So Market Domination is very professional, very knowledgeable, and the best thing about them is they take care of everything for you, which gives you your time back to do other things. And it's been a wonderful experience. And in fact, like I said, we just renewed. We're going to do it all over again because we had so much fun the first time. So I highly recommend them, and you won't be sorry. It's a great investment for yourself, and your business will explode.
Okay. Oh, we had some other cute. Okay. What's your renewal rate? I think it's like 90 something percent. Pretty close to 100. Check on the exact number, but I mean, we pretty much everybody, it works. Why would you stop? Okay, this is David Braun, a financial advisor, who said, you got me in front of accountants and attorneys I otherwise never could have met. I've already gotten referrals and business from them. My book isn't even out yet. I'm very happy with my results so far. Dave, selling training and retreats to larger companies. Always struggled to reach out, so this sounds hopeful. This works really well in business to business because most business to business marketing is boring. So if you do this, it's not boring. It works a heck of a lot better. Somebody mentioned the question. I think Tanya mentioned the question on, are we posting on your social media? This is a way for you to literally be everywhere all the time. So for example, you'll see that was an episode I did with Stephen Smolders from expandi.io on LinkedIn. And you'll see there's posts on LinkedIn, there's Twitter tweets, there's Facebook posts, there's everything. So let's talk about how you figure out how much money this can make you. You are going to go to bit.ly/oil well calculator. I will put that link in the chat in 2 seconds. Sounds like I put the end URL. So you can just click the link that is in it. Just click that link. It's going to take you to a page that looks like this. It's going to say, how much money can your referral oil wells make you? Get a full breakdown of your return on investment. This will tell you if you should do it right now. So the first question is, if we get you in front of 50 warm referral oil wells and send them 5 value bombs, what percentage referral rate should we show? You don't have to put the 20% default rate. That's just the default from the software. So do you think if you had 50 people on your show over 50 weeks and we dripped on them at over 5 times, and then you did another call and they agreed to send you referrals, what percentage would 100% of them would refer? Would half of them refer? Would only 10% of them refer? You put the number in and you can go back and forth and play with this. The next question is, how many referrals per person should we show? So if they were on your show, on your social media, said that they would refer you business and that they love what you were doing, how many times do you think they would refer in a year? Would they give you 1 referral? Would they give you 3? Would they give you 5? Would they give you 10? You pick the number. And then what's your closing rate on referred leads? So if somebody refers you somebody and you meet with them, how often do they buy what you're offering? Do they buy 100% of the time? Do they buy 80%? Do they buy 50%? In which case, do they buy less? Then we need to talk about your sales process, because if they were referred to you, they should pretty much buy at a pretty high rate. And then how much is a client worth to you in the first year? Again, that number is going to vary. We talked about that at the very beginning of our training session. So you type all that in, and then it'll ask you where you want your results, name, email, phone number, and it will tell you what your potential ROI is on this. So type your ROI number that it came up with for you in the chat box for me. I'll wait while you fill out the quiz. We need somebody to do the quiz. 110,000. Awesome. Good number. 150,000. Amber. Oh, I totally guessed on the numbers. I understand that. You're going to play with it. You're not going to know. I mean, your average client value, your percentage close rate on referred leads, those 2 numbers you should know. The others you're guessing. Lisa Ann, 112,500. Awesome. Thank you. That's that's what we're looking at. Okay, this is Kevin, who we recognize from Shark Tank.
Hi, I'm Kevin Harrington, inventor of the infomercial and original shark on the hit TV show Shark Tank. I'm here to talk about my weekly podcast, Sharkpreneur. I really love doing my weekly podcast, and Seth Green and his team do an amazing job. They actually do almost all the work, okay? I just show up, hang out, get to meet amazing people every single week, and I just want to say you should tune in to Sharkpreneur. And, you know, I love going there because I never know who's going to be there on a week-to-week basis. So thanks for being there today.
Okay, Dennis says, if our book is more ministry than revenue-centric, does your approach drive speaker revenue to become the high transactional requirement? Okay, so can you use this to get speaking gigs? Yes. So that's a secret backdoor strategy. I wouldn't even share that today. The way I've used this to get speaking gigs is I interview the person who's hosting or promoting the event, and I let them promote the event in the interview. And then my follow-up process gets them to a second call. And then on that second call, they'll say, well, tell me about, all we did was talk about me for half an hour. Tell me about you. Tell me what you guys do. And I will tell them something, and they will say, oh, we should have you come speak at our event. And I say, oh, that'd be great. So if you want speaking gigs, you wouldn't do that with all 50 interviews, but you certainly could do that with some of them. So we talked about the 5 principles to generating referral oil wells, DREAM. I hope that you stop trying to market your business yourself, right? Get other people to do it for you because they've already built a network of your existing ideal clients. We just got to get them to tap that network on your behalf. Now, you might feel like this guy, right? I've thrown a lot of information at you in a short period of time. So you might feel like you're drinking a little bit from a fire hose. But hopefully you see there's a light at the end of the tunnel and that this process actually works. So my wife has been a stay-at-home mom, was a stay-at-home mom for the first 12 years. 3 years ago, she went back to work as a podcaster, as a blogger, as a vlogger, as an author, all because of this process. This is her Amazon best-selling book, Whiny Palooza, Inspiring Adventures in Parenting. Her second book is going to come out in the next month or so. It's actually turned into a family thing because my actress daughter's written 2 children's books. This is our son, Max, who played on the Olympic development team for soccer. Every practice is in a different city every week. So it's a lot of drive time for daddy. That's Ella, our musical theater actress, who's now written 2 children's books and got to audition for Frozen Jr. on Broadway. She didn't get the part, but then she got to be in a Broadway showcase with Corey Cott, who won a Tony for originating the role of Jack in Newsies. Again, none of this local in Western New York. And this is our youngest, Lily, who is 9, who is our cheerleader. And cheerleading competitions aren't just all around here. So I'm sharing that with you because I've been to every single practice, every single recital, every single performance, and every single game and tournament, because I don't have to worry where our next clients are coming from, and you won't either. Who are my wife's clients? My wife's clients are moms who are overwhelmed. She is looking for moms who are overwhelmed between parenting, their marriage, their kids, their relationships, their work, and she helps them balance it all with a smile on their face. She is, oh, you're a soccer mom and theater mom, Tanya, that's awesome. Okay, so how do you make this happen? How do you get this all done for you? This is not for you if you're stuck in your box, right? If you're not willing to try something different, don't do this. This is also not for you if you are if you're going to obsess about your download numbers from your podcast. This is all about the relationships. So there's also no pod fading allowed. 75% of podcasts in 2018 stopped producing episodes after episode 10. You're not allowed to do that. We're going to keep you around for at least 50 episodes and make sure that it works for you. What is my wife's podcast? It's called Whiny Palooza. This is all about the relationships. It's not about the downloads. I don't care if the 50 people you interview are the only 50 who ever listen to your show, because we're going to turn those relationships into profits. So how many of you are excited about what we're sharing? Give me a I'm excited in the chat box. We're almost done. Excited, intrigued, very intrigued, excited, make me money. Awesome. All right. Is it okay if I share with you how we'll do all the work and you get all the money? Give me a yes. Yes, 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 please. Yes, please. Awesome. Okay. So do you want it for free? Would that eliminate your cost concerns if it was free? If we did all the work for nothing? Sure. All right. Now we're talking. Okay. We have 3 levels of our service. Let's walk through them and I'll show you how you can get them for free. The silver level of our Dream 50 program, we are going to do the research to identify your target influencer guests. We are going to build that list. We are going to send them direct mail to be on your show. We are going to send them email to be on your show. We are going to send them LinkedIn messages and social media messages to get them on your show. If we have to, we will pick up the phone and call them to be on your show. When they say yes, we will write the interview questions for you. All you have to do is show up and read. You can all read. I know that because you're here. We have a multi 2-time Emmy Award winning team that will practice the interview with you. We will teach you how to record the interview. We will type up every word of the recording. We will edit those transcripts. We will write your show notes. We will write your email promos and your social media posts. When it comes time to do the book, we will write the chapter about you. We will ghost write it first person for you. So you don't even have to write that. We will do the graphic design and publishing to Amazon and Kindle of your interview book. And we will do our Amazon bestseller campaign to get it to the top of its category so that you can say you have an Amazon best-selling book. What if I like to write questions? Can we collaborate? Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to do just what we say. We will supply them, but you don't have to do them all. You can write your own questions. That's no problem. And of course, you'll have a weekly podcast. You'll have graphics. You'll have social media content. You'll have all of those amazing things. Now, the retail price for all of that is $72,510. Don't worry, you're not going to pay anywhere close to that. And I'm going to show you how you can get it for free. So David Hancock from Morgan James got you one heck of a deal. So that is our silver program. Our gold program includes everything from silver. And once the book comes out, I was contacted by a gentleman I will call Mr. X. You will find out who he is once your book comes out. Yes, but wait, there's more, Dave. You are right. What he told me made no sense, but it worked. And Rich Sheffrin, one of the godfathers of internet marketing, who hosts the Beyond 8 Figures podcast, said, if I had to start over again, this is what I would do. So the old way of running Amazon ads to promote your books was you ran Amazon ads on other people's books that were related to your books. But there's too much competition and it's too expensive because everybody does that. We came up with a way, this gentleman came up with a way to think like an algorithm. And this is one of my books. And you'll see, this is my Amazon ad account. I spent 90 cents to get a $15 book sale. I spent 3 cents to get a $15 book sale on the keyword Photoshop for Dummies, which has nothing to do with my book. I spent 12 cents to get a $10 book sale on Twitch Prime Gaming, which has nothing to do with my content. I spent 34 cents on YouTube to get a $15 book sale, which means nothing to my content. Why am I getting book sales on unrelated keywords? because we figured out a way to use Amazon's AI to identify people who had bought a book similar to ours, but we only want our ad to show up on the next unrelated keyword search. So if you search for Teen Titans Go, which is a cartoon that my tween daughters watch, I'll be the only podcasting book there. And I'll be the only podcasting book there because everyone else is advertising Teen Titans Go merchandise because it makes sense. But my podcasting book will only show up if you have previously bought a book on podcasting. So I show up in a competitive vacuum with no competition. And the only people who are going to click my ad when it's not related to what they're looking for are people really interested, and I get really high conversion rates. So this is an example, 6 million impressions on Amazon, 202 book sales. So it works because Amazon's a buyer's engine. Amazon has endless inventory. Amazon has 1.9 million sellers, 12 million products, and Amazon knows everything you've ever bought. So your keyword search doesn't matter. So in the gold level, you get silver plus. We'll run the Amazon analysis of your book. We'll rewrite your book description. We'll develop that keyword list. We'll create 75 to 100 different Amazon campaigns on those keywords and monitor and optimize them to drive book sales every single month. If you add all that up, that's $96,260. Yes, we can do it on existing books. It doesn't have to be a new book. Don't worry, you're not going to pay $100,000. That's our gold level. Our platinum is olive silver, olive gold, and we will send a monthly direct mail postcard to your 50 guests. We will send them a monthly gift like popcorn or chocolate or brownies. And we will send them a quarterly direct mail letter to get them to promote you all over again. So platinum, you get 2 books instead of 1 book, by the way. You add that up, it's $120,260. So there are 2 big reasons, and I'll show you some example books in just a minute. There are 2 big reasons why you won't do this. Number 1 is procrastination. This isn't the first webinar you've ever attended, right? You get ideas, you took good notes, you wrote down the pages of notes, but then life gets in the way and you don't do it. And the money. Those prices, if you were to pay them, would be a significant investment. You are not going to pay anywhere near that. And you actually have the ability to get it all for free. So hopefully the 48-hour flash sale and the option to get it for free eliminate the procrastination and the money issues. So if all it does is turn you into a podcast host with your dream 50 influencers as guests, is it worth it? Does it also do the dishes? No. My wife and I have a fight about the dishes in our house because I read the directions to the dishwasher and I load the dishes the way it says in the dishwasher. And my wife does not. She thinks the dishwasher is a puzzle to be solved to see how much you can cram in it. So I load the dishwasher and then I think it's full and she comes in and adds like 10 more dishes. And I'm like, those don't go in that spot. And she's like, I could fit it, so it goes there. If all it does is turn you into a published author with your dream clients and referral partners, is it worth it? If all it does is generate you referral oil wells, is it worth it? I'm biased. The answer is yes. Tony Robbins, one of my mentors, says, if you continue to do what you've always done, you'll continue to get what you've always got. If you want something different, or you wouldn't be here. How about the laundry? No, it does not do the laundry. This is Alex Mandossian. He is the founder of marketingonline.com. He is known as the Warren Buffett of the internet because he's made over $400 million online.
Hey, it's Alex Mandossian from marketingonline.com. We are at a big event here with internet marketers, and it's tough to meet people in the crowd, and people usually don't stick out, except for one person that I'm going to endorse right here and right now. Seth Green knows his stuff. Not only as a fellow podcaster and having a web TV show and knowing how to deliver content, but he knows how to do it for you. He's done it for me, he's done it for others, and I trust him with my clients, customers, and members. And I'm not going to let him talk because this is my show for him. But if you want to get taken out of the crowd and be seen and be heard, don't be a best kept secret. I know I'm pontificating, but I'm telling you, hire this guy because he knows what he's doing and he's got the right team. Alex Mandossian, hire Seth.
Yes, great endorsement. Yes, my hair was a lot shorter back then. Now it's long enough to make it straight. All right. Silver, normally $72,510. If you're interested in silver, type silver in the chat box. Gold, normally $96,260. If you're interested in gold, type gold in the chat box. Platinum, normally 120. If you're interested in platinum, type platinum in the chat box. Silver, 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 platinum, platinum, curious about all, platinum, platinum. Awesome. Okay. So who wants it for 50% off? Let's start there. 50% off, type 50% off in the chat box. 50, 50, 50. Diamond, there isn't a diamond one. I guess we need a diamond level, Dave. 50, 50, 50. All right. How'd you like to split it up over 12 months so you don't have to write a big check? Type 12 months in the chat box. All right. So silver, 50% off and split up over 12 months is 12 monthly payments of $29.97. Gold, 50% off, 12 monthly payments of $39.97. Platinum, 50% off, 12 monthly payments of $49.97. That's $4,997 a month. Now, if you want another 20% off of that, if you can prepay the entire year up front, you get another 20% off on top of the 50. Now, who wants it for free? Here's how it's, first of all, type in what was your ROI number? What was the calculator number? We had a couple, 110, 150. Yep, Lisa's was 112. Ron is 112. Glenn is 78. Dave is 150. Awesome. All right. Do you think if you did gold or platinum with those extra steps and value bombs, that'd get a higher referral rate? If so, go back and tweak your referral rate and see how much your number goes up. Now, if you want it for free, type free in the chat box. Free, 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 free. Awesome. Here's how free works. If you send 3 clients our way, in 12 months, you stop paying. So you don't even have to do the prospecting for us. Can you pay me? Dave, I'm getting there. That's actually the next one. So here's how it works. So for example, Ross Brannon just interviewed Mary Ann. Mary Ann sent Ross an email and said, that experience was amazing. That was incredible. I want to do that for my business. Ross sent me an email and said, Mary Ann, Seth Green is the guy behind my podcast. He and his team do it all. Seth, I interviewed Mary Ann. She's from Buffalo too. She's asking about the podcast and wanting an introduction. That's all he did, because you're going to have 50 guests who are going to love your process so much. Some of them are going to ask you how you did it. All you have to do is send them our way, which you would do anyway. 3 of them hire us. You stop paying. Now, see, Dave, have you seen this before? Who wants us to pay you to let us do the work? So if you want us to pay you, let me tell you the bonuses you're going to get, and then I'll tell you how we can pay you. Number 1, I host office hours every week, just like your college professor. Same day, same time. You can join me live and ask me any question you want. Doesn't have to be about this service. Could be any marketing or business related question. We normally charge $197 a month to be in that group. I host a monthly virtual mastermind group where we all get together via Zoom, 2 to 3 hours a month, teach you the latest of what's working to grow your business. That's normally $297 a month. We provide you with a bi-monthly magazine with your picture, your logo, your contact information on it. You can customize the inside cover. You can customize the back cover. Your information goes in it. It goes out to your guests and your existing prospects and clients. You don't have to write a word of it. Every other month it goes out, I get referrals. Do you have the menu list so I can see the cost? Yes, I do. You get our monthly snail mail newsletter. This is like a marketing seminar in a box every single month, teaching you something awesome to do to grow your business. That is normally $297 a month. You will have a project manager, an account rep, and an entire team dedicated to you. However, you also can email me any questions you've got. That's another $991 a month in bonuses we will give you no matter what level you sign up for. So before I tell you how we pay you, let's talk about how it feels to put us to work for you. This is Judy Herman, who is a Morgan James author and a marriage counselor.
My name is Judy Herman, and I am the author of Beyond Messy Relationships. I'm a counselor who's been in private practice for many years, also a coach that developed a program called Show Up and Be You. It's for entrepreneurial couples who are raising kids and how to take them from chaos and into connection. I want to give a shout out to Market Domination and the team there, which includes Bruce, of course, and Kristen and Teton, and my manager, Daniel Hunt. I want to do a shout out for Daniel. First of all, this is so natural for me to just share with you how wonderful of a human being he is. He has the ability to really listen and hear and understand, and then he takes action with which to get things done. That is a huge thing, a huge plus for me, and I so appreciate him helping me with better relationships, better life, and getting the right guests on board and guiding me, showing up consistently. As of even yesterday, I asked Daniel, hey, are you available to just test my equipment out? And he was, and I so appreciate it. I appreciate the whole team. I can tell y'all really communicate well with each other, and I am so very, just more than thankful, with gratitude deep in my heart, because this is exactly what I needed a few months ago when I was looking for a virtual assistant, knowing I cannot do this on my own. But I love that I'm having a podcast and a book, and I'm so excited. All right, thank you so much.
All right, you know what, here, we'll skip Tom and Maria. Okay, so you wanted the chart of silver, gold, and platinum. Let me give you the URL where that is. That is at marketdominationllc.com/dream50, where you can go see the list and enroll. Now, I did ask how many of you want us to pay you to let us do the work for you. So after the third client you send our way, you stop paying, and we pay you 15% commission every single month on everybody you send us. So after the 3, it's free. And then we start paying you 15% commission on every dollar they pay us every single month. So it is an excellent commission rate, Lisa, you're right. And you get passive revenue. So not only do we end up doing it for free, we end up paying you to let us do it. And you'll be getting, depending on how many people you send our way. I mean, we have clients who I had a call with one of our referral oil wells early, who's going through this process at like 10:30 this morning, Eastern time. And he said, hey, I think he's getting a couple grand a month right now in commissions. And he said, can we get this up to 10 grand a month by the end of the year? I'd love to be getting 100 grand in passive revenue from you. And I said, absolutely. Here's what we need to do to make that happen. Thank you for the compliment. Smart business model. Love, love, love. Awesome. I'll let Paul, who was going after accountants, talk.
Hey, this is Paul Partridge from haydenrock.com. Just wanted to take 2 minutes to say what our experience has been on the podcast. We have one called the Accounting Success Podcast, and we've had a number of really great guests. People seem to be thrilled to just to be asked to be on it. So that part is great. It's been great for us getting our word out. But kind of on the results side, our book is about a month from being published, and before it's even published, we already have clients that are signing up from the podcast. So in terms of return on investment, we'll already have fees in excess of anything we paid, certainly to Seth and his team, before the book even gets published. So we're way ahead of the game. We feel like we're only in the second or third inning. And so by the time we get to inning number 9, it's going to be even better. But it's off to a great start, and we couldn't be happier. Hey.
All right. Now we guarantee it. Here's the deal. We will guarantee you 50 referral opportunities over 50 weeks after we launch. If we don't deliver those 50, we will work for free until we do, as long as it's not your fault. If you're the reason we can't deliver 50 because you stalled or you delayed or you didn't get us what we needed, that's a whole different story. Your guarantee, your commitment is you're going to show up and you're going to follow the process. If you don't show up for your interviews or your show me the money calls, the second call that turns them from a guest into a referral source, then all bets are off. Like, we can't deliver without you. You are the talent. We do everything else. Like, my wife will tell you, she shows up, does her interview, and that's it. We do all the rest. So because of the sheer amount of manual labor it takes to do all of this, we have 4 slots available. Again, that is at marketdominationllc.com/dream50. Now we got to give away a vacation. So I'm going to start counting up in the chat. Dave says, so I pay you $60K and you deliver X number of referrals. We deliver 50 relationships. How many referrals that relationship turns into is we will do the follow-up process. You also have to do the work to nurture the relation. I mean, we're going to drip on them. We're going to get you the second calls. You're going to follow our process. But if you then ignore the person forever and don't ask for referrals, don't do a webinar, don't give them anything to send out, there's nothing we can do. You have to do your part. What is the average ROI? Your calculator should have told you what your ROI, every ROI is going to be different because your business is different. So if I sell $1,000 product and I sell, and I think 10% of those 50 people are going to send me referrals and they're each only going to send me one, and I'm going to get 5 referrals in a year, well, then you shouldn't do this, right? The ROI wouldn't be there. If your ROI was more than the 3 to 5K a month, then you should do it. The record we've ever had was somebody on our last webinar had a number of like 2.2 million. Now his average sale was $50,000. Some of his other numbers were a little ambitious. I had to tone it down for him and say, hey, tweak this a little bit lower, just a little bit, just be a little bit more realistic. So it didn't end up being 2.2 million. It ended up being like 1.5. But again, it depends on how well do you close referral leads now. If you don't do a good job, we'll help you. I'll help you with your sales process. But if I get you 50 people who now know, like, and trust you and are willing to talk to you and willing to talk about your business and possibly promote it, can that make you 36 grand? Can it make you 60 grand? It should. Okay, let me play Allison while I count up the number.
Hi, this is Allison K. Summers, and I have been a client of Market Domination for almost 4 years, and I'm always happy to say positive things about them to people. I am the host of Disruptive CEO Nation podcast, which I have always produced with Market Domination, and I've also produced books and other articles while working with them. This is specifically, though, to give a shout out to Justin. Justin recently became my account manager, and he is helping me set my sights on leveling up the work around the podcast, keeping an eye on my data. And so I just wanted to express appreciation to Justin, but also to the whole Market Domination team, because I know it takes everyone. Thanks so much. Bye.
All right. I'm almost done counting them up. This is Ross Brannon, who is a financial advisor going after dentists. He said they are professional. They do what they say they're going to do. I've also spoken to other clients, assessed. They're very happy with the results. This is Gary Helt from Grow Your Business, Grow Your Wealth. He says, I have had them produce me a weekly podcast, publish an Amazon bestselling book, create college planning seminars, and create leads off of all of these that have become good business for me. I believe this will be the best money you've spent for marketing. I think Gary's in year 3 or 4 too. We'll play TaxBot and like one more. We'll award our vacation. We'll show you some sample books and we'll answer questions and we'll wrap up.
I just hope everybody sees like why we've been excited about this. Like, and like this is just like fast tracked us into, we're like way further ahead than we've ever been in entering into a new industry. And you don't have to do it just to enter into a new industry, right? You can do it to elevate yourself in your current industry. But it's like jumping to the front of the line. It's kind of, I mean, there's no way we could pull this off by ourselves. Lined up. We were trying to go down that route of trying to build that influence, and you showed up, and it was, anyway, I'm just super excited. This is one of the most exciting things that we're doing on our marketing side right now. I just hope.
This is Arjun Sen. He was the former CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of Papa John's, the global pizza chain. And he says, it's stupid to do a podcast without doing it with Seth, as his team gets it, actually has a process for it, and gives you more and more than what is on the contract. Yes, he is unique, and I love it. All right. Oh, congratulations to Brett, who signed up. Awesome. So now we have 3 slots left. All right. So we got to award a vacation, and then I'll show you some sample books. The vacation, we have a 3-way tie. So I guess I'm on the hook. The winner is, so we have Lisa Anna Palmer, we have Tanya Trevitt, and we have Dave Jennings. So you are all getting a vacation. So you're going to shoot me an email and tell me if you want to go to Orlando or Las Vegas, and you all win, because it's not fair because you're all almost exactly the same in terms of number of comments. Got to email me where you're going. Now some example books. So this is the magazine. It's like Architectural Digest meets Good Housekeeping meets People. It's all professionally written by a real magazine editorial staff. You just get to put your contact information on it and use it to drip on people. This is the newsletter, the marketing newsletter every month. Step-by-step instructions. This is what a book looks like. It is a physical book. It is an interview book. This is the 7 success drivers to hyper growth. Scott is a CEO coach. He wanted to use this to launch a coaching program at the Inc. 500 fastest growing privately held company CEOs. He did the podcast, he did the book, he did the Dream 50 program. He sold 12 Inc. 500 CEOs, his $100,000 a year coaching program. So $1.2 million in revenue, past performance, no guarantee of future success. Insert standard legal disclaimers here. But he sold out that program, created a 7-figure business off the back of the podcast and the book based on those relationships. This is red, white, and blue. Advice from wine and cheese experts. This was by a guy who owns an e-commerce site that sells wine and cheese bar supplies. This is pitching with confidence. This is by a pitching coach who interviewed other coaches to get kids to their like $5,000 pitching boot camp. I mean, we got like 80 of these. This is the right plan, the right process. This is David Medina. He's a 401k advisor. He uses this. He used this to get written about in 401k magazine, get to speak at industry conferences, and bring in a lot of 401k plan business, which reminds me of our secret strategy. So if you want to get written about in the press in your industry, interview them on your podcast. That's how I got in Forbes, Inc., and how I got on NBC and CBS. I interviewed the reporter at Forbes who wrote about podcasting. And then they were like, oh my God, no one ever asked me any questions. I'm always interviewing other people. That was fun. Tell me about you. And then said, can I write about you? And I said, yes, you can. And now almost anytime there's a podcasting article, I get an email going, hey, can I get a quote? Tanya says, can we start at silver and decide to go platinum later? Yeah, absolutely. You can always upgrade. Everybody usually, yeah, I'm not going to turn away your money. Yes. If you want to upgrade later, that's fine. You would upgrade then to gold, or you would upgrade so you would start with silver. This is for everybody. Start at silver unless you already have an existing book. If you've got an existing book you want us to work our Amazon magic on, then you could start at gold, and we'll start running ads for that book right away and do that in addition to marketing the podcast book when that comes out. And if you want 2 books and you already have a book, and you want all the direct mail follow-up, then you do platinum. Okay, I have an existing book, says Tanya. Awesome. So then if you want us to start on that book right away, you could start at gold. And you could always upgrade to platinum later. Other questions? Oh, we are down to 2 slots. Congratulations. All right, Sean. Welcome aboard. So again, that sale, that 50% off sale down to 3, 4, or 5 grand a month, silver, gold, or platinum, that will expire in 48 hours, which technically is Saturday. It's probably going to sell out before then anyway. Let's see. I think we had raised hands. Oh, do you work with international clients? I answered that one already. Can I make it Monday? Sure, I can extend the offer till Monday. It's gonna be gone by then. At this rate, it's gonna be gone before the webinar is over. But yeah, sure, fine. It's open till Monday. If you want to prepay and get the extra 20% off, shoot me an email. Because that I have to send you a separate page to do. That's not our normal offer page. Other questions? I'm in financial services. How does this work with compliance? Well, you saw we had a whole bunch of financial advisors in the program. We've never had an issue getting it approved at compliance because the content is static. Like the book doesn't change. The podcast interview questions can be approved in advance. The art can be, everything can be approved. The only thing you wouldn't know is what the person is going to say in response, but you're not asking any investment specific questions. There's no recommendations getting made. So we've done it. Financial advisors and professional authors, speakers, coaches, consultants are half our client base. So we've never had an issue with compliance. Any other questions? What if you don't have a webinar? Oh, okay. So for example, you're through this process because we promote our services 99% of the time through a webinar. If you don't have a webinar, you sell some other way, you will get your referral sources to promote that other way. If you need a webinar, we can have a whole separate conversation about that, but you don't have to do a webinar. Will you do only Amazon marketing? So the Amazon marketing is for the book. So that is in addition to getting all the people in the book to promote the book for you. Does that answer your question? I mean, we're a full service agency. So for example, if you said, can we hire you for Facebook ads? Can we hire you for YouTube ads? Can we hire you for all that other stuff? Yes, you can. It's just not part of this process. Does the marketing apply to an audio book? All book platforms. So we are publishing physical books. So we could do our Amazon ads on an Audible book. We just don't produce Audible books. I have my own of all three. Okay, awesome. We could market an Audible book. I mean, we've only had clients ask, we've only done a handful of Audible books. Most of our clients haven't asked for one. If we get a whole lot of people who want one, we'll build an audio division. That is an awesome to have a one-stop shop. Thank you. Amber says you answered it. Okay, I answered whatever. Oh, I answered it. Awesome. All right. All right, so Tanya, Lisa, Ann, and Dave are all going to email me about where they want to go on vacation. I want pictures when you go. I will pay for the vacation. You have to pay, I think you have to pay the taxes or the fee or whatever. It's like 50 or $100 or something, which I'm happy to reimburse you for. It's not a big deal. You have to reactivate. I'll send you a thing to activate your vacation voucher. You have to activate it like within 48 hours. But you have 18 months to travel, so you don't have to go now. Emailed you about paying up front to get 20% off. Awesome. All right, so that's 3 slots, right? We got 1 left. Dave, we got 1 left. Awesome, Tanya. Congrats. All right, thank you all. I don't see any other questions, so thank you for joining us. I hope you learned a lot. Dave Hancock messaged me. He said they're at a book publishing or a sales conference, which is why he couldn't be here live, which is why he recorded that video. The last time we did one of these, when Judy was Judy was one of the people who signed up, and now you see her testimonial he was here live the whole time. But he sent the video in because he wanted you to know that he wanted to be here. So thank you all. I hope you learned a lot. Most importantly, I hope you implement it. And I'm biased, of course. I hope we get to do it for you. Your wife is in Spain. You won't make a decision without her. Okay, I'm married. I get that. Dave, do you want me to hold you a spot? Shoot me an email. If you want me to hold a spot for you, I will hold a spot for you. That's Monday. All right, everybody have a fantastic day. Have a great weekend. Look forward to working with you, and I'll see you on the next one.